literally speechless. I just listened to your message about the blue Corvette. Literally, as you were, like, Amanda, do you realize how incredibly intertwined our signs are, and the fact that the universe is communicating to you for me? That is fucking wild. Like, absolutely fucking wild. Abso-fucking-lutely. Like, I am really glad that I was not listening to that message when my kids are in the car. That was meant to be. I listened to your short messages on the way up to drop them off. SNLTRL. Their license plate is SNLTRL. Saturday Night Live. Total Request Live. That's fucking awesome. I hope that's what their license plate actually means. That is, like, the best license plate ever. I stopped and left you a message and did not listen to your car messages until I am alone in the car on the way home. Then I started listening to your messages. So, as you're driving and you are watching my video about the funeral procession, you are surrounded by white semis, white meaning death. I do know that you give people white roses when there's a death. So I do know that, like, I didn't know that about white doves, but it makes sense. I do know that white dove, like, if somebody experiences a death, like, my friend experienced a miscarriage, and I sent her a dozen white roses, because that's what you're supposed to send somebody, like, flowers-wise, when there's a death. Like, I do know that white roses, white symbolizes death, which makes sense. White is, like, peace, and, you know, like, it is peaceful, you know, but the fact that you were getting death signs while watching my video about funeral procession, and then it's like, you're talking about the blue Corvette, and as soon as you said that it's your uncle who committed suicide, I literally gasped out loud and got full body goosebumps. Like, your uncle is sending you a sign about my dad committing suicide, and there being a funeral procession for my dad, and the shooting himself. I told you my dad has guns in the house, Amanda. Like, now I'm like, should I even be fucking leaving my kids there? Like, I have to trust that they're okay. It's not going to happen when they're there. Everything's going to be okay. I haven't been getting any signs not to take them. I need to do this for me. They're going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. But I think you're right. I told you I've been getting twinges in my liver, and I don't think it's me. I think it's, like, me feeling my dad. And I told my mom, I asked her if they're, like, getting the regular doctor's checkups. Like, because I'm worried about my dad and his liver. Like, I don't know. It's just fascinating. I have never heard those terms before. What did you say? Drunkacide and toxicide? I have literally never heard those terms before. But of course, you're hearing those terms on my behalf. Like, Amanda, is my dad seriously going to relapse? And that's because I was like, why? Like, in my head, as the blue Corvette drove by, indicating suicide, I was like, in my head thinking, but why would my dad ever commit suicide? Like, what would actually give him a cause, a reason to commit suicide? He did tell me back when, so I've told this story, when my dad and my mom came to visit on Easter, my first Easter in my own apartment. I wasn't ready yet. My dad got mad. Like, we were supposed to be going to a barbecue, the barbecue was like, just come as you are. Like, just show up whenever. It wasn't like a hard, like, this is what time you have to be there. This is like a... But my dad got mad that I was not ready to go to the barbecue. As soon as my parents got to my house, he started throwing a temper tantrum, throwing a stapler at me, throwing a tape dispenser at me, throwing a hissy fit. And I had started training Kaju Kimbo at that time. I had started training self-defense so that I could defend myself if something ever happened. Well, what it did is it gave me the confidence to not put up with my dad. I went and got his shoes and his jacket. And I walked out the front door. I was on the second story of the apartment complex. I threw them over the balcony, over the railing of the apartment. I threw them over the railing. And I said, get out. You will never threaten me in my own home ever again. Fast forward to when I left Dave. My dad actually confided in me. And the thing is he confided in me, but, like, today I saw this from a different perspective that I hadn't ever noticed before. That my dad was, like, also putting the responsibility of his feelings on me. He said that when I did that he wanted to commit suicide. That he, like, felt, like, he didn't say it in those words, but he told me that in that moment, he wanted to commit suicide. And I was like, oh, wow, thank you for opening up to me. Little did I realize how much that was, like, also him making me responsible for his feelings. Like, because I did that to him, it made him feel like he wanted to commit suicide. Like, but he felt bad is the way that I took it. He felt so bad for treating me like that he wanted to commit suicide. So, I do wonder if those twinges that I've been feeling in my liver, I told you that, I've been wondering if that's my dad. Like, what if my dad does relapse? And I've never heard of drunkacide before. Never. And the thing, like, why is the universe telling me that this could potentially, like, if this plays out, Amanda... By the way, I downloaded your video. Do you mind if I upload that to my YouTube? Because the fact that you were receiving my signs, that is huge. If this actually does come to fruition, that video and this video could be huge for, like, the universe communicating with us on my YouTube channel. Maybe cut out, like, this is where it would be nice if somebody edited all my videos and cut out all my coughing. Nobody wants to sit here and hear me coughing. If my dad experiences drunkacide, which I've never heard of before until you just educated me on that, I did not know that, like, you didn't know that was a thing. Excuse me. I literally had no clue that was a thing. And if that's the way that it plays out, so as I'm watching your video, here's my wild part. As I'm watching your video, it gets even wilder. I heard a gunshot, and I jumped. It was a car next to me backfiring. That car continued to backfire multiple times as it was driving past me. I could see the spark coming out of the muffler, whatever it is. Literally made me jump as I was watching your video talking about death by shooting. That is a symbolism at its fucking finest. Like, that was definitely the universe. Like, my dad owns, I told you, my dad owns 2 guns. They're not loaded. According to him, they're not loaded and there's no ammo in the house, according to him. Because my mom won't let him. kind of wish I wasn't going into my time away from my kids knowing this. But I have to remember, like, my kids protected, the universe protected my kids from their dad's death. They got to see my dad. They got to see, not my dad, their dad, Dave. They got to see their dad. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm sorry. I literally cannot get rid of this tickle in my throat. It literally, like, the universe protected them. They got to say goodbye to their dad. They were not with their dad when it happened. That kind of trauma they're not meant to experience. Yes, he passed away, but they protected my kids by them not being there at the time of his passing. It was his girlfriend. It was meant to be. The universe is going to watch over my kids. Everything's going to be okay because I'm meant to go get some much needed sleep. But if this plays out the way that the universe is communicating with us, and the fact that it's communicating, like, my signs to you, that is fucking wild. There's a license plate with the last digits 22. 11 and 22. It's almost like half and whole. And then the car backfiring. I can't. Like, is the universe really telling me that, like, how my dad is going to die and why he's going to commit suicide, and that it's going to be, like, death by drunkacide? Like, and I mean, literally only time will tell. But this is just, it's wild. You said it's wild. It's fucking wild.